Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, welcome to Masters of Business. My name's Kylie Warry, and today I'll be sharing with you around the 5 steps to better communication for your business. Now, why should you listen to me about better communication? Great question, and the answer is that I have struggled as a communicator for most of my life. I didn't understand myself, I didn't understand why I did what I did, and I had a lot of problems. So I want you to learn from my mistakes. You don't need to make the same mistakes that I have made, so that's the good thing. Today, we're going to talk about how you can take your communication to another level so that your business will begin to perform in the way that you want. The more effective your communication, the more effective your business will run. Now, there are 5 crucial steps. The first one is you need to know your destination. How on earth do you get somewhere? You need to know where you're starting and where you're heading. Now, for example, if I started off somewhere maybe in Alice Springs and I wanted to get to Melbourne, if I don't know that I'm in Alice Springs, I could head north, I could head west, I could head the wrong way. So you need to know where you're starting and you need to know where you're heading. The next thing is that you need to understand yourself. In the famous words of Brené Brown, she said that self-understanding is the best gift that you can ever give. Because really, if you don't ever understand yourself, how on earth can you understand someone else? And that's step number 3, understanding others. We often have difficulty with other people because they're different to us. And the thing is that when you understand yourself and can see where you're coming from, you're more able to then look at where that person is coming from and bridge that gap. You need to then look at becoming an intentional communicator, and we'll spend a bit of time on this. Intentional, from my perspective, means communicating with care and with purpose. And the last step is becoming an exceptional communicator. Now, not many people get to this level of communication. Intentional is fantastic, but if you can take it that little step further and become exceptional, your business will flourish and you'll have a lot of fun doing it. So number 1, know your destination. Where are you starting out? Now, if you're in business, you might have a starting point here, and you want to get to a place where your business is flourishing and you're earning lots and lots of money. So what do you need to do to get to that point? The first thing is understanding where you're starting at. So you need to know, what are my skills as a communicator? What are my needs as a business person? Am I already a good communicator? Do I need to be a better communicator? Have I got systems in place in my business that help me communicate in the way that is effective for me? Now, learning about yourself is an interesting journey. I don't know if anyone's ever done it before. We want it to be like that. I'm at point A and I want to go to point B. Who has ever done anything with self-discovery? Really, it's more like this. It's a very confusing journey. And so what I want you guys to know is, first of all, that is normal and that your destination may not be clear in the beginning, but as we go through these steps today, your destination will become much clearer. Poor communication. That's the crux of what we're talking about today, because you have to know where you're starting in order to become a better communicator. Now, why would we talk about poor communication? The reason is because it costs us a lot of money. And it costs us a lot of time and pain. So why do we need to focus on something like poor communication? The reason is that it costs us a lot of money, time, and negative emotion. I want you to think about a time when you've experienced poor communication. Maybe you were in a bank and you were lining up for ages and there was someone behind the counter and they looked at you and then looked away and were busy shuffling papers. And you're like, I'm in my lunch hour, all I need to do is do this little thing, and you're not even giving me customer service. Or perhaps you were speaking to someone about a problem and they rolled their eyes and you're like, wow, that's really disrespectful. See, poor communication happens every single day, and it's because we're fundamentally different. So today, what I want to share with you is some steps around how you can understand yourself more and then begin to bridge that gap and understand others. Now, a study found that 32% of profit, I'm going to write that down because it's massive, 32% of your profit is being lost to poor communication. Now, as a business owner, I don't know about you, but getting to making profit is a big thing. Who wants to give away that much? No one. And the great thing is that if you become better at your communication, you'll unlock that hidden profit center in your business and you'll start to flourish and grow and claw back that money that is already yours. Another great study by Gallup found that 95% of people in business leave their jobs because of bosses. It's not because they don't like the job, it's because they can't work with the people that they're working with. Now that's really interesting because that basically explains relational tension in the workplace and in business. You are struggling with a different person from you, you don't know how to deal with it, and so therefore you leave the workplace. Now, imagine how many times we could actually save all that money and save all that time by keeping our staff because we know how to deal with problems when they come up. It's a simple solution, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more today. So what might poor communication be costing you? Just imagine, if you're turning over or you're making a profit of $500,000 a year, which is pretty good, this translates to $160,000 in poor communication. What might that look like? It looks like things like ineffective business meetings. It's where you don't have a culture of people speaking up and saying, hey, I've got a problem, or this isn't working, because they're frightened of being judged. It's a situation where you might have business teams that work like silos because they don't understand each other, and so therefore admin stays away from accounts, who stays away from sales, and this costs you money. So when you understand yourself and you understand others, you can begin to bridge that gap and have a business that is growing and flourishing and people actually are engaged and enjoy being there. So the second step is knowing yourself. Now, we all know ourselves, right? We spend time with ourselves every single day, but how well do you know yourself as a communicator? Do you know what you like? Do you know what you don't like? What pushes your buttons? What drives you crazy? What frustrates you? And what do you like? If you stop and think about it, you might notice that as a communicator, you're attracted to certain types of people. There are certain people that you meet and straight away you like them. And there are other times when you meet people and you're like, straight away, you don't like them. What's going on there? Now, if you know yourself, you can understand that a bit more and see what's happening there and have a bit more control over it. But we need to know ourselves. So the question for you, are you a doer? Do you just get things done? Are you someone who is more of a talker and you love to tell stories and jokes? Maybe you're more of a supporter and you like to help other people get their job done and you don't like the limelight, you'd rather be in the background. Or perhaps you're more of a thinker and you like to problem solve and make things right. You like that detail. The thing is, we're all different. I wonder if you've noticed. And when you understand those differences, it makes our relationships flow so much better. So what I'd like to share with you today is this graphic, the communication DNA model. Now, if you've done any DISC or anything like that, you'll notice that it's very, very similar to DISC. We have 4 communication styles: powerful, playful, patient, and perfectionist. Now, each of these styles are very, very different, but they've all got value. Each of these styles has things that naturally come really easily to them, but they've all got challenges as well. And no one style is better than another, okay? I really want you to get that point. No one style is better than another. We need all 4. And when I go through the different communication types, what I want you to think about is, what do I relate to? And the people in my world, what do I think about them? What style do they have? You'll notice potentially as I go through and talk about our relationships, that in our personal relationships, you end up being closer to people that are opposite to you, and that's a good thing. Yes, you might drive each other crazy, but when your differences are united, you actually are a much stronger team and a much stronger foundation. Let's look at the powerful communicator first. A famous example, Judge Judy. Now look at her stance. Finger pointed. She's got her hands on her hips. She is making a point, and you know that she means business. Now, to help you break down these different communication styles, I'm going to use an acronym called OWN. I want you to own your DNA. What does this stand for? O stands for observe, what we observe about that person. W stands for what they want, and the N stands for what they need. Now, when I'm going through this with someone on an individual basis or as a team, we can spend a whole day on this alone. So I'm giving you a broad overview here, but it will be enough for you to start thinking about where you sit. So the powerful communicator. They're observed to be direct, pushy, and aggressive. They're also confident, and they get their point across really, really clearly. They're assertive. They say what they mean, and they mean what they say. There's no beating around the bush. They want results. This is what they're all about. And that's why they push so hard. That's why they drive to get that result. It really motivates them. And they need control. Now, this type of communicator is attracted to positions of leadership or management because they love making decisions. They love being in control, and they just naturally are attracted to that position. Now, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean they make great leaders. Any style from my position, any one of these four can make a fantastic leader if they are self-aware and if they're able to lead their people in the direction that they want to go. So just because someone likes to be in leadership doesn't mean that they're the best at it. So that's the powerful communicator. Can you relate to that? Do you know anyone in your world that's like that? Next, we have the playful communicator, and this is demonstrated by the lovely Ellen DeGeneres. What we observe about her is that she's talkative, loud, and funny. She loves to make jokes. If you've ever watched her show, she's always laughing. She's always telling stories and making people laugh, and sometimes at someone else's expense. They want recognition. They want to be noticed. And they need a fun, interesting, and friendly environment. Now, these guys are attracted to places like sales roles, business development roles, promotion, marketing, anything where they can be in front of people, talking and telling stories. That's the sort of work that they love. Now, do you know anyone in your world that's like that? Is that something that you relate to? Next, we have the patient communicator. And the famous example of this style is Michelle Obama, the person who stands behind, at the moment, one of the most powerful men in the world. Now, these guys are observed to be quiet.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.